I think it's this one. I think it is that one.
Yeah, go for it. Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, hey. Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 Raksha Mam. Krishna, 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 Pahi Mam. Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Raksha Mam. Krishna, Kesava, Krishna, Kesava, Krishna, Kesava, Pahi Mam.
Very good. So we're reading from Krishna book, and this is a chapter called Sacrificial Ceremonies Performed by Vasudeva, and it's chapter 83. After offering the new articles to the singers and reciters, Vasudeva and his wives, dressed with new ornaments and dresses, fed everyone very sumptuously, beginning from the brahmanas down to the dogs. After this, all the friends, family members, wives and children of Vasudeva assembled together, along with all the kings and members of Vidarab, Kushala, Kuru and Kasi, Kekeya and Shijaya dynasties. The priests, the demigods, the people in general, the forefathers, the ghosts, the Janaras, were all sufficiently remunerated by being offered ample gifts and respectful honours. Then all the persons assembled there took permission from Lord Krishna, the husband of the goddess of fortune. And while glorifying the perfection of the sacrifice made by Vasudeva, they departed to their respective homes. Even the ghosts benefited. Amazing. At that time, when King Dhritarashtra, Vidura, Yudhisthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Bhishmadev, Dronacharya, Kunti, Nakula, Sahadev, Narada, Lord Vyasadeva, and many other relatives and kinsmen were about to depart, they felt separation and therefore embraced each other and every member of the Yadu dynasty with great feeling. Many others who were assembled in that sacrificial arena also departed. After this, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, along with King Ugrasena, satisfied the inhabitants of Vrindavan, headed by Maharaj Nanda, and the cowmen, by profusely offering all kinds of gifts to worship them and please them. Out of their great feelings of friendship, the inhabitants of Vrindavan remained there for a considerable time with the members of the Yadu dynasty. After performing this sacrifice, Vasudeva felt so satisfied that there was no limit to his happiness. All the members of his family were with him, and in their presence he caught hold of the hands of Nanda Maharaj and addressed him thus: "My dear brother, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has created a great tie of bondage known as the bondage of love and affection. I think that it is a very difficult job for even the great sages and saintly persons to cut such a tie of love. My dear brother, you have exhibited feelings of love for me that I was not able to return. I think therefore that I am ungrateful. You have behaved exactly as is characteristics of saintly persons, but I shall never be able to repay you. I have no means to repay you for your friendly dealings. Nevertheless, I am confident that our tie of love will never break. Our friendship must ever continue. In spite of my inability to repay you, I hope you will excuse me for this inability. My dear brother, in the beginning, due to my being imprisoned, I could never serve you as a friend, and although at
the present moment I am very opulent. Because of my material prosperity, I have become blind. I therefore cannot satisfy you properly even at this time. My dear brother, you are so nice and gentle that you offer all respect to others, but you don't care for any respect for yourself. A person seeking auspicious progress in life must not possess too much material opulence with which to become blind and puffed up. He should take care of his friends and relatives." When Vasudeva was speaking to Nanda Maharaj in this way, he was influenced by a great feeling for the friendship of Nanda Maharaj and the beneficial activities executed by King Nanda on his behalf. As such, his eyes filled with tears and he began to cry. Desiring to please his friend Vasudeva and being affectionately bound with love for Krishna and Balaram, Nanda Maharaj passed 3 months in their association. At the end of this time, all the members of the Yadu dynasty tried to please the inhabitants of Vrindavana to their heart's content. The members of the Yadu dynasty tried to satisfy Nanda Maharaj and his associates by offering them clothing, ornaments, and many other valuable articles, and they all became fully satisfied. Vasudeva, Ugrasena, Lord Krishna, Lord Balaram, Uddhava, and all other members of the Yadu dynasty presented their individual gifts to Nanda Maharaj and his associates. After Nanda Maharaj received these farewell presentations, he, along with his associates, started for Rajabhumi, Vrindavan. The minds of the inhabitants of Vrindavan remained, however, with Krishna and Balaram, and therefore all of them started for Vrindavan without their minds. When the members without their minds. When the members of the Vrishni family saw all their friends and visitors departing, they observed that the rainy season was approaching, and thus they decided to return to Dwarka. They were fully satisfied, for they regarded Krishna as everything. When they returned to Dwarka, they described with great satisfaction the sacrifice performed by Vasudeva, their meeting with various friends and well-wishers, and various other incidents that occurred during their travels in the places of pilgrimage. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 83rd chapter of Krishna, sacrificial ceremonies performed by Vasudeva.
Chapter 84, Spiritual Instruction for Vasudeva and the Return of the Six Dead Sons of Devaki by Lord Krishna. It is a Vedic custom that the junior members of the family should offer respects to the elderly persons every morning. The children or disciples especially should offer their respects to their parents or spiritual master in the morning. In pursuance of this Vedic principle, Lord Krishna and Balaram used to offer their obeisances to their father, Vasudeva, along with his wives. One day, after returning from the sacrificial performances at Kurukshetra, when Lord Krishna and Balaram went to offer their respects to Vasudeva, Vasudeva took the opportunity to appreciate the exalted position of his two sons. Vasudeva had the opportunity to understand the position of Krishna and Balaram from the great sages, who had assembled in the arena of the sacrifice. Not only did he hear from the sages, but on many occasions he actually experienced that Krishna and Balaram were not ordinary human beings, but were very extraordinary. Thus he believed the words of the sages that his sons Krishna and Balaram were the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With firm faith in his sons, he addressed them thus: "My dear Krishna, you are Saksidananda Vigraha, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And my dear Balaram, you are Sankashan, the master of all mystic powers. I have now understood that you are..." Again, click.
That you are eternal. Both of you are transcendental to this material manifestation and to its cause, the Supreme Person, Mahavishnu. You are the original controller of all. You are the resting place of this cosmic manifestation. You are its creator, and you are also its creative ingredients. You are the master of this cosmic manifestation, and actually this manifestation is created by your pastimes only. The different material phases that are manifest from the beginning to the end of the cosmos under different formulas of time are also yourself, because you are both the cause and effect of this manifestation. The two features of this material world, the predominator and the predominated, are also you, and you are the supreme transcendental controller who stands above them. Therefore, you are beyond the perception of our senses. You are the Supreme Soul, unborn and unchanging. You are not affected by the 6 kinds of transformation which occur in the material body. The wonderful varieties of this material world are also created by you, and you have entered as the Super Soul into each living entity and even into the atom. You are the maintainer of everything, the vital force acting as the life principle in everything, and the creative force derived from it are not acting independently, but are dependent upon you, the Supreme Person behind these forces. Without your will, they cannot work. Material energy has no cognizance. It cannot act independently without being agitated by you. Because the material nature is dependent upon you, the living entities can only attempt to act, but without your sanction and will, they cannot perform anything or achieve the results they desire. The original energy is only an emanation from you. My dear Lord, the shining of the moon, the heat of fire, the rays of the sun, the glittering of the stars, and the electric lightning which is manifested as very powerful, as well as the gravity of the mountains, the energy of the earth, and the quality of its flavor, are all different manifestations of you. The pure taste of water and the vital force which maintains all life are also features of your Lordship. The water and its tastes are also you. My dear Lord, although the forces of the senses, the mental power of thinking, willing and feeling, and the strength, movement and growth of the body appear to be performed by different movements of these airs within the body, they are all ultimately
manifestations of your energy. The vast expanse of outer space rests in you. Vibration of the sky is thunder, the supreme sound, Omkara, and the arrangement of different words to distinguish one thing from another are symbolic representations of you. Everything is you, the senses, the controllers of the senses, the demigods, and the acquisition of knowledge, which is the purpose of the senses, as well as the subject matter of knowledge. All are you. The resolution of intelligence and sharp memory of the living entity are also you. You are the egotistic principle of ignorance, ignorance, which is the cause of this material world. The egotistic principle of passion, which is the cause of the senses, and the egotistic principle of goodness, which is the origin of the different controlling deities of this material world. The illusory energy, or Maya, which is the cause of the conditioned soul's perpetual transmigration from one form to another, is you. My dear Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the original cause of all causes, exactly as the earth is the original cause of different kinds of trees, plants, and similar varieties of manifestation. As the earth is represented in everything, so you are present throughout this material manifestation as Supersoul. You are the supreme cause of all causes, the eternal principle. Everything, in fact, is a manifestation of your one energy. The three qualities of material nature, sattvic, rajas, and tamas, and the result of their interaction are linked up with you by your agency of Yoga Maya. They are supposed to be independent, but actually the total material energy rests upon you, the Supersoul. Since you are the supreme cause of everything, the interactions of material manifestation, birth, existence, growth, transformation, deterioration, annihilation, are all absent in you. Your supreme energy, Yoga Maya, is acting in variegated manifestations, but because Yoga Maya is your energy, you are therefore present in everything. In the Bhagavad Gita, this fact is very nicely explained in the 9th chapter, wherein the Lord says, in my impersonal form, I am spread all over the material energy. Everything is resting in me, but I am not there. This very statement is also given by Vasudeva. To say that the Lord is not present everywhere means that he is aloof from everything, although his energy is acting everywhere. This can be understood by a crude example. In a big establishment, the energy or the organization of the supreme boss is... I was going to carry on.
Is working in every nook and corner of the business, but that does not mean that the original proprietor is present there. Although in every department and every atmosphere the presence of the proprietor is felt by the worker, the physical presence of the proprietor in every department is a formality only. Actually, his energy is working everywhere. Similarly, the omnipresence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is felt in the action of his energies. Therefore, the philosophy of inconceivable simultaneous oneness with the difference from the Supreme Lord is confirmed everywhere. The Lord is one, but his energies are diverse. Vasudeva said, this material world is like a great flowing river, and its waves are the three material modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. This material body, as well as the senses, the faculties of thinking, feeling, and willing, and the stage of distress, happiness, attachment, and lust, all are different products of these three qualities of nature. The foolish persons who cannot realize your transcendental identity above all these material reactions continues in the entanglement of fruitive activity and is subjected to the continuous process of birth and death without a chance of being freed. This is also confirmed in a different way by the Lord in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There it is said that anyone who knows the appearance and activities of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, is freed from the clutches of material nature and goes back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, Krishna's transcendental name, form, activities, and qualities are not products of this material nature. My dear Lord, Vasudeva continued, despite all these defects of the conditioned soul, if someone somehow or other comes in contact with devotional service, he achieves the civilized human form of body with developed consciousness and thereby becomes capable of executing further progress in devotional service. And yet, illusioned by the external energy, people generally do not utilize this advantage of the human form of life. Thus they miss the chance of eternal freedom and unnecessarily spoil the progress they have made after thousands of births. In the bodily concept of life, One is attached to the offspring of the body due to false egotism, and everyone in conditioned life is entrapped by false relationships and false affection. The whole world is moving under this false impression of material bondage. I know that neither of you is my son. You are the original chief and
progenitor. The personalities of Godhead known as Pradhan and Purusa. But you have appeared on the surface of this globe to minimize the burden of the world by killing the Kshatriya kings, who are unnecessarily increasing their military strength. You have already informed me about this in the past. My dear Lord, you are the shelter of the surrendered soul, the supreme well-wisher of the meek and humble. I am therefore taking shelter of your lotus feet, which alone can give one liberation from the entanglement of material existence. For a long time I have simply considered this body to be myself, and although you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I consider you my son. My dear Lord, at the very moment when you first appeared in Kamsa's prison house, I was informed that you were the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that you were descended for the protection of the principles of religion, as well as the destruction of the unfaithful. Although unborn, you descend in every millennium to execute your mission. My dear Lord, in the sky, as in the sky, there are many forms appearing and disappearing. You also appear and disappear in many eternal forms. Who therefore can understand your pastimes or the mystery of your appearance and disappearance? Our only business should be to glorify your supreme greatness. When Vasudeva was addressing his divine sons in that way, Lord Krishna and Balaram were smiling. Because they were very affectionate to their devotees, they accepted all the appreciation of Vasudeva with a kindly smiling attitude. Krishna then confirmed all of Vasudeva's statements as follows. My dear father, whatever you may say, we are after all your sons. What you have said about us is certainly a high philosophical understanding of spiritual knowledge. I accept it in total, without exception. Vasudeva was in the complete perfection of life in considering Lord Krishna and Balaram to be his sons. But because the sages assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra had spoken about the Lord as the supreme cause of everything, Vasudeva simply repeated it out of his love for Krishna and Balaram. Lord Krishna did not wish to detract from his relationship with Vasudeva as father and son. Therefore, in the very beginning of his reply, he accepted the fact that he is the eternal son of Vasudeva and that Vasudeva is the eternal father of Krishna. After this, Lord Krishna informed his father of the spiritual identity of all living entities. He continued, my dear father, everyone, including me and my
brother Balaram, as well as all the inhabitants of the city of Dwarka, and the whole cosmic manifestation is exactly as you have already explained, but all of us are also qualitatively one. Lord Krishna intended for Vasudeva to see everything in the vision of Mahabhagavatam, a first-class devotee, who sees that all living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and that the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. In fact, every living entity has a spiritual identity, but in contact with material existence, he becomes influenced by the material modes of nature. He becomes covered by the concept of bodily life, forgetting that his spirit soul is of the same quality as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One mistakenly considers one individual to be different from another simply because of their material bodily coverings. Because of differences between bodies, the spirit soul appears before us differently. Lord Krishna gave a nice example in terms of the 5 material elements. The total material elements, namely the sky, air, fire, water, and earth, are present in everything in the material world, whether in an earthen pot, or in a mountain, or in the trees, or in an earring. These 5 elements are present in everything, in different proportions and quantities. A mountain is a gigantic form of the combination of these 5 elements, and a small earthen pot is of the same elements, but in a smaller quantity. Therefore, all material items, although in different shapes or different quantities, are of the same ingredients. Similarly, the living entities, beginning from Lord Krishna and including the Vishnu Tattva and millions of Vishnu forms, and then the living entity in different forms, beginning from Lord Brahma down to the small ant, are all of the same quality in spirit. Some are great in quantity and some are small, but qualitatively they are of the same nature. It is therefore confirmed in the Upanishads that Krishna, or the Supreme Lord, is the chief among all living entities, and he maintains them and supplies them with all necessities of life. Anyone who knows this philosophy is in perfect knowledge. The Vedic wisdom, Tattvam Asi, thou art the same, does not mean that everyone is God, but that everyone is qualitatively of the same nature as God. After hearing Krishna speak the entire philosophy of spiritual life in an abbreviated summation, Vasudeva was exceedingly pleased with his son. Being thus elated, he could not speak, but remained. Are we done today?
2 minutes.
But remained silent.
In the meantime, Devaki, the mother of Lord Krishna, sat by the side of her husband. Previously, she had heard that both Krishna and Balaram were so kind to their teacher that they had brought back the teacher's dead son from the clutches of the superintendent of death, Yamaraj. Since she had heard of this incident, she had been thinking of her own sons who were killed by cancer. And while remembering them, she was overwhelmed with grief. In compassion for her dead sons, Devaki appealed to Lord Krishna and Balaram. My dear Balaram, your very name suggests that you give all pleasure and all strength to everyone. Your unlimited potency is beyond the reach of our minds and words. And my dear Krishna, you are the master of all mystic yogis. I know that you are the master of the Prajapatnis, like Brahma and his assistants, and you are the original personality of Godhead, Narayan. I also know for certain that you have descended to annihilate all the kinds of miscreants who have been misled in the course of time. They have lost control of their minds and senses and fallen from the quality of goodness. They have deliberately neglected the direction of the revealed scriptures by living a life full of extravagance and impotence. You have descended on the earth to minimize the burden of the world by killing such miscreant rulers. My dear Krishna, I know that Mahavishnu, who is lying in the causal ocean of the cosmic manifestation and who is the source of this whole creation, is simply an expansion of your plenary portion. The creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation are affected by your plenary portion. I have therefore taken shelter of you without reservation. I have heard that when you wanted to reward your teacher, Sandipani Muni, and he asked you to bring back his dead son, you and Balaram immediately brought him from the custody of Yamaraj, although he had been dead for a very long time. By this act, I understand you to be the supreme master of all mystic yogis. I therefore ask you to fulfill my desire in the same way. In other words, I am asking you to bring back all my sons who were killed by cancer. Upon your bringing them back, my heart will be content, and it will be a great pleasure for me just to see them once. After hearing their mother speak in this way, Lord Balaram and Krishna immediately called for the assistance of Yogamaya and started for the lower planetary system known as Sutala. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice.
So, say something.
I will. Krishna Book Key.
Jai. Hare Krishna.